Welcome to the Fit Dad Nation podcast, forging strong fathers and raising a stronger generation. It's time to get up or shut up with your host, Steve Roy.
Hey guys, this is Steve Roy, the host of the Fit Dad Nation podcast. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for listening. Before I introduce today's guest, I want to take a quick moment to invite all you dads who are listening right now and who are ready to start taking action on reclaiming your health and fitness and becoming better fathers and better men to join online community. And the best way to do that is to apply to our private Facebook group, which can be found at fitdadnation.com/community. So my guest today, he's got a very cool story. His name is Martinus Evans. Martinus is a man that was once told, this was a handful of years ago, by his doctor that he was fat and he needed to start walking to lose weight. So, obviously being pissed, he decided to say, screw the walking, and he went right into running. He's actually been doing that ever since, and he's got a really, really neat brand. It's 300 pounds and running, and he shares his experiences, his runs, his lessons, tips, and motivation. He's got a really engaged and supportive community. He runs a podcast, and he's inspired tens of thousands of what he calls back of the packers to start running. He's actually been featured in Runner's World, Live Strong, Shape, the Detroit Free Press, the Winnipeg Free Press, Diets and Review, and the WTNH News 8 station. So, and I'm excited to hear his story. So, Martinus, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Steve, thank you for having me. Fit Dad Nation. What's up, y'all?
You got it. So, man, I love your story. Just watching your stuff on Instagram, I can't help but smile. You've got such a lovable personality, but what you're doing, it's so different. You don't see a lot of that, and you've just embraced you're a big dude. You've embraced it, and you're inspiring a lot of, like you said, the back of the packers, the guys and women that don't necessarily care about winning the race. They're running to run and to live better lives. So I want to hear about all this, like your story about how this all came to be.
All right, man. So, just like you mentioned in your intro, all this started back in 2012. I weighed somewhere around 380, 390 pounds. Truthfully, I really don't know, because every scale that I came in contact with stopped working at like 350. So I know I weighed more than 350, and who knows?
Yeah.
So I weigh, around this much, and I was on the everyday grind. So I worked at Men's Warehouse at the time, full-time sales, commission, selling suits. That's what I was doing at the time, and I was on my feet a lot. I ate a bunch of quick meals, very unhealthy meals. And one day I found myself in the doctor's office with some hip pain. And, this doctor is about 145 pounds soaking wet, 5'4", very thick accent. And he looks at me and he says, "Mr. Evans, I know what's wrong with you. I'm thinking I got to have a hip replacement, something, right?" And he's like, "You're fat. And, you need to start walking and, all this other stuff." Only thing I heard was the teacher from Charlie Brown. It was just like, blah, 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 blah. So I went on, we was going back and forth, and something about me, Steve, is that I'm a very defiant person, especially when it comes to, doctors or, just people in authority. So, he's talking about me walking and getting these, old man walking shoes. And I'm like, hold up, doc, like, screw all that. Like, I'm going to run a marathon. And he laughs at me and tells me that's the most stupidest thing he has ever heard in his life. And I'm looking at him, I'm a big dude, and I'm like, don't you know I can crush you? I'm 6'3", 300, over 350 pounds. And I'm like, I can crush you. So we're going back and forth, and I end up just storming out the doctor's office. On my way home, I see like this running shoe store, and I go in there and I say, I need running shoes and I need them now. And that day was pretty much how 300 pounds of running got started. It was me being defiant to the doctor. It was me being defiant to pretty much the whole world, because I've been a big dude all my life. And, there's been many times that people have told me that I can't do something because of my size. And when I heard that, I was fed up and I said, enough is enough. And I'm going to start running.
Wow. So were you always were you the chubby kid? Were you overweight in school?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's actually funny because one of the guys at work today, he was telling me like how he's trying to get down to like 150, and I'm like, man, I ain't been 150 since like fifth grade. Yeah, I've always been a big guy. Never really got into sports until like my junior year in high school. I played football for a couple years and then played a year collegiate football, and that was it. As far as like my athletic career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it started out as spite, right? So you got pissed off, and so I mean, like, what is it about now? I mean, this has turned into not this little project. I mean, it's not like, hey, I just started this little blog and I'm. You've got all kinds of stuff. You've got gear. You've got this massive community, and people are reaching out to you saying, "Hey, man, when you come into my state, I want to run with you." And like it's a movement. And I mean, you're a regular dude. I mean, you're not a running coach. You're not an athlete per se. But you're a regular guy. People identify with you. They like you. And so yeah, man. So I mean, what is it now? Like, what does this become for you now?
So right now, I'm running with the motto of like, this is not a weight loss journey. And how I got here is that, so after I, left the doctor's office back in 2012, I started running, getting to some races. Like I actually did run that marathon in 2013. I had lost a bunch of weight, somewhere around about 80, 90 pounds. Lost a bunch of weight within that year time period. And then the following year, so I ran my race in October 2013. In January 2014, I get in a bad car accident. Totaled my car, injured very bad, and had to sit on the couch for about 7 months. After that 7 months, I get back going, lost all the gains or lost everything I had, right? And then get into another car accident that same year. So in 2014, I had 2 car accidents that put me out. Like that whole year, I did not do any physical activity other than physical therapy because I was just dealing with injuries from the car accident, like from my shoulder and, neck and back injury. Like I was done. So I gained back every single pound I lost and some. So on this second go round of like me finally getting healthy and able to get back physically active, a lot of friends and family and even people who knew me via social media back at the time was like pressuring me to like get back into this weight loss journey. And for me, all I really wanted to do was run. Like I fell in love with the sport of running. I love how it makes me feel. I love how, it gave me the, benefits for like mentally as well, for like my mental health. And I really wasn't worried about weight loss at all. So the whole notion of like me screaming to the top of my lungs is this is not a weight loss journey. Is that, through like all the research I've done, and as a plus size male, one of the things that I really just didn't see in the media was plus size men being active without the guise of it being a weight loss journey.
Yeah, I mean, that's what comes to mind. I mean, I can't even think of anybody that does that. Because every time you see, it's a transformation from fat guy to skinny guy. Right? But it's not embracing, So this isn't a weight loss journey for you.
No.
Okay, you just love running. If you lose weight, you lose weight.
Exactly. And that's hard for people to understand. Sometimes it's hard to people to really grasp the mind. Like, well, you're doing so much running. Like, I don't understand how you're not losing weight. Like, you must be eating tons of calories. And it's like, no, I eat twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, just like any other American. But for me, it's really not about weight loss this time around, especially with I don't want to say the trauma, but especially with the notion of losing all this weight, right? And then having it taken away from you, not because of your own doing, because of these car accidents. And I spent a lot of, time beating myself up about getting in something that I couldn't control. I couldn't control getting into two car accidents. So, one car accident, I got rear-ended on the freeway. I can't control that.
Yeah. Wow.
Another car accident, somebody ran a red light. I can't control that. So I beat myself up for the better part of those years on the fact that I gained back all the weight that I lost and gained some back, but not knowing, but also knowing that it's hard to keep weight off anyway, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's hard to keep weight off, especially when, you're doing everything as possible. So imagine having all that activity, all that taken away from you. And, you had joy and glory, and now you got depression, shame, and defeat. So, with me battling all of that, the shame, depression, defeat, with me and my, car accidents and finally getting healthy, all I really wanted to do was run, because it gave me so much joy. It gave me happiness. And, when I was running back then, I wasn't fast. I wasn't breaking records or nothing. I was just happy to, finish some races and get some medals. And that's where for me, that's where everything is at right now. It's not a weight loss journey. It's a journey for a better me, mental health, collecting as many medals as I can, a journey of racing all 50 states, doing all the continents, but it's not a weight loss journey. If I lose weight, I lose weight, but if I don't, I don't. I want to be able to run no matter what weight I'm at.
Wow. So yeah, that's something else. I mean, that's inspiring in itself, just the fact that, you had come so far and then, you ended up having to sit out for a long time, a year.
Yes.
And just being able to restart says a lot as it is. And I've been a trainer coach for a long time, and obviously, in our business, when we see someone that's overweight, first thing we do is, all right, let's work on your body fat. Let's get you down to healthy ranges of, your body composition. And so, I love your take on it, because, we're not here, I can speak for myself. I'm not here to judge you and say, listen, man, you're 300 pounds. You shouldn't be running. You're going to kill your knees, blah, 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 blah. Right. It's not, that's not my place. And that's why I love this story so much. I love your story is, you've heard it all, right? I mean, right. I've listened to your podcast. I mean, there are these idiots that come out of the woodwork and up and down telling you you're an idiot, and you're killing your body, and you're disservicing your family by being so fat and all this stuff.
Right.
And it comes with the territory in social media, of course. But
and that's the thing, Steve, right? For have them all go through that, but they don't know me. Because if they did know that, they would know that I spent my whole life dealing with this fat stuff, right? So not only being fat shamed, being younger, to the fact that, I wanted to not be fat, that I went to school and got a degree in health fitness. I have a bachelor's in health fitness. I have a master's in health promotion. I've spent, a better part of my career working in clinical clinical weight loss trials, helping individuals who weigh, 600 pounds or more lose weight. So I've been in this realm a very long time, and I'm very knowledgeable in it. And it's kind of crazy to see these, I want to say hacks, but these people come out and be like, oh, well, you're fat, so, you're contributing to the rise in my insurance, or you're fat and don't you not care about cardiovascular disease? And I'm like, do you know me?
Yep. And I know this whole fat shaming movement has gotten out of control. I mean, do you get wrapped up in that at all? Or are you at a point now where you're just like, fuck you guys, I don't, save your hate and, whatever?
The thing is this, Steve, is that, when it comes to like body positivity, fat shaming, what you want to call it, this movement was like originally for women, right? So for you to see like a 300-pound man be like, I got man boobs, I run races, and I still have this stuff going on, it's something that kind of shocks people, right? Because they don't even fathom that. Because when you think of like fat shaming or like body positivity, you're thinking about from a woman's prospect. But men go through the same thing. And I feel like it's just recently that people are just starting to see that as a man, you go through the same thing. You got issues with your body as well. I got man boobs. I have man titties.
Yep.
I grew up and they was boy titties. Now they man titties. I had a girl tell me when I was younger, tell me she couldn't date me because my titties was bigger than hers. Like that's something that as a man, like I have to deal with. And especially with having man titties, it feels as if like you're less than a man by having these things.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'm just trying to do is just be like, I got them, but that's not going to stop me from doing the things I want to do in life. And, one of these days they might leave, one of these days they might not. But either way, I need to accept who I am and what I have and be happy that, with these man titties, I can still run tons of marathons and different races and things of that sort that individuals without man titties can't do.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when you see a guy like you and, you're a bigger guy, but you're running and the first thought people think probably is, oh, he's just starting out. He's trying to lose some weight. He's trying to get healthy. And you're like, screw that, man. I'm going for a medal. I don't, that's my goal.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, that's wild, man. So are you doing this? Is this your job now? Or do you still work a job?
I do have a couple part-time jobs.
Okay.
I do freelance. Digital media and marketing because, like I said, I got degrees like a thermometer. So, I recently just moved out here to Silicon Valley because my significant other got a job out here. So, we moved from Boston to here, just for her to pursue her, this opportunity of a lifetime. And, I've been out here maybe about 4 months or so I'm still trying to land somewhere. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, yes, 300 pounds of running has been like the full-time job for me, in addition to like, doing some gigs and other part-time jobs.
That's awesome. I love seeing people that can do what they love and, get paid for it. And it looks like you have a ton of like sponsors and partners. Are these companies reaching out to you for the most part saying, hey man, we love what you're doing. We want to support you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit of both. Since I am doing this full time, I pitch a lot of companies on different ideas that I have on how to like integrate men, especially plus size men into their brand so they can, so it can benefit. But a lot of these brands also reach out to me and say, hey, we found your post. We love what you're doing. How can we help?
Wow. That's awesome, man. Yeah. I spent a long time, like 11 years in a business I hate. I worked in finance. I felt stuck. I hated the work. And it was just about 5 years ago that I was finally, after all these years, to break free. And I do this full time too. So it's the best feeling in the world.
Right on. But that's one of the things, like, this is like by far one of the greatest, I would say, jobs I ever had. Mm-hmm. To like actually do some things that I inspired to do, but also inspire others, and to also be an advocate for men out there, to be an advocate for plus size men who may not fit, the cover of Men's Health or, Men's Journal, but still need to have that same voice out there. I think that for like body positivity or like whatever you want to call it, just overall fairness, I feel like the women have like a great grasp on that. But when it comes to the men's side, we still need a lot more work. Mm-hmm. For example, one of the biggest gripes that I have right now is that Target, for example, Target now has like this whole plus size women's line. Like you go into Target's, pick a Target, you'll see at least one plus size mannequin or like plus size women on the walls in the area, and then you go to the men's section, and you'll be lucky to find anything over a double XL, right? And they'll tell you like, oh, you need to go online to buy this stuff, and it's like, well, I'm a man. I shop at Target, and I don't want to go online. I'm here to buy toilet paper now, and while I'm buying toilet paper, I want to see if y'all got a shirt in my size. No, you don't? Okay, well, I'm just going to buy this toilet paper. I'm not going to go online to go buy a shirt, this extra step where they're serving, our female counterparts right then and there.
Yeah, I never really thought about that. Yeah. So you're getting your stuff then. I mean, so you're not getting it at the normal retailers then. You have to go to a special shop, big and tall.
Special shop, big and talls. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of created my T-shirt line. For me moving out here in California, going to all the big box retailers, it's even harder now to find like big and tall stuff for me in California versus in like Boston. So, with me being fed up of just going to all the big box stores and be like, hey, do you have something in 3X or bigger? And them being like, no, I created my own T-shirt size, because when you do find something that size is all black or blue or navy blue in it, for runners, that's not necessarily what runners wear. We wearing bright colors, the greens, the oranges, especially with Nikes and everything else. Like, I want things to match my shoes.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I created like the Slow AF brand.
I know, I found that's hilarious, man. I love that shirt. I think I'm gonna have to order one because I suck at running too. I just finished a show with Valerie Hunt. She runs Run RX. She's a running coach, and I said, listen, man, I suck. I hate running, but I personally don't like it. And I suck at it, But there's no doubt, and like you were saying earlier, some people, it's their thing, right? It's that runner's high that people talk about. They just get that amazing feeling, which I've never gotten, but I get it. I mean, I understand. If that's your thing, go with it.
Right.
And that's one thing that, I admire about you too, is you're not spending your days in the gym, and doing shit that you hate, which a lot of people think, oh man, I've got to go to the gym and do all these burpees and, it's miserable. And I said, no, you don't have to do all that. I mean, start with what you like doing, right? If you like to hike, go hiking. If you like to run. You don't have to go to the gym. And I see you're out there hitting the pavement.
And that's the thing, right, Steve? For me, and this is what I tell like individuals who want to get started. Maybe it's not running. Maybe it's something else. For me, I love run. I love the sport of running, and like that has became my thing. And a great example is that I don't step on a scale and see a number and it tells me, and that number dictates like how my workout is going to be. Like, I don't see a number and say, oh, I gained 2 pounds. Like, I need to go harder this workout. Vice versa. I don't get on the scale and see that I've lost 2 pounds and say, okay, well, I don't have to run today. Like, the scale does not dictate my love and joy for running, or does it dictate my goals for running? For me, it's about pushing myself to the limits and pushing this body to the limits, whether that's running marathons, ultra marathons, or, anything else I decided to get into. I recently got a road bike and I want to get into triathlon. So none of that stuff is dictated by the scale.
That's good. I mean, it's crazy, the obsession that we have, Americans especially, with the scale. I've just seen it so many times over the years. It was just, people can't let go of that number. I'm like, that doesn't matter. You're doing the right things. You're creating healthy habits. You're feeling good. Who cares? Just let it go. But, it's so hard to let go of that. And, so you want to triathlons. You know what? I should put you in touch with You know who James Lawrence is? They call him the Iron Cowboy.
No, I don't know.
I interviewed him last month. Man, this guy did 50 Ironmans in 50 days in 50 states, so one a day.
Wow.
This guy is insane. I mean, insane. I mean, one Ironman would probably kill me. And he did 50 in a row. And I interviewed him, and I was blown away by his story, man. So if you ever want an introduction, I'm happy to do that because he's a really good guy, too. So, anyway, so one thing I read that you had written that kind of touched here, and I want to talk about that just a little bit. And you said, I don't think of 300 Pounds in Running as a weight loss blog or a health and lifestyle blog, but rather a self-improvement blog because a weight loss journey has more to do with overcoming psychological barriers and dealing with the traumas than it does about losing a few pounds. I mean, that's spot on. I love that. You know, and it's so powerful because that's what we're dealing with, right? I mean, a few pounds is a few pounds. You can go on a crash diet. You can stop drinking water. You can do whatever. You can do anything to lose a few pounds. But unless you've got, what's working upstairs, I mean, you have to address those issues to work through it. I mean, and it does. It begins in your mind, right?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I realized, losing close to 90 pounds and gaining it all back is that when I was skinnier, I still had these problems, right? I still had these problems, if not more, because now I got the pressures of keeping this weight off. So not only did I have the body issues, the mental health issues and, everything else. Now I got the issue of keeping off this weight because everybody's looking at me and say, okay, Martinus is the guy who lost all this weight. Let me see whether or not he's going to keep it off. And then you got the detractors. It's like, well, he gained it back. I knew he wasn't going to keep it all the way off. So, all that stuff really takes into the part of weight loss. And, for me, that's why I said, like, this is not a weight loss journey. It's a journey to a better self because it's a lot of other things going on in my life and my mind that I need to work on than, worrying about a few pounds. So, for example, like I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, in one of the roughest parts of the cities. I had two brothers who died. So one died because he was, in the drug game. But I had another brother commit suicide when I was 10. And I seen the body. Like, I remember getting a phone call because I think my mom went to go get the phone call after they had it. And then like me and my father went there and nobody was watching me. And I happened to go in the house and see him see them put my brother's lifeless body into the body bag. And like for a long time, I battled with suicide just because of that, just because of seeing that. Like I battled with the notion that suicide was a okay solution to all the problems in my life. So, when I say that it's bigger than just a few pounds, like your life depends on my life depends on this. It's bigger than just me losing 100 pounds. It's my life. And it's the people that I'm influencing to say that I know you're struggling with this because I'm struggling with this as well. And we're going to get through this. And it doesn't matter, what the world wants you to do. It doesn't matter what societal norms is. If you want to be active because that improves your mental health, or if you want to be active because you want to try something new, or if that brings some type of joy in your life, some type of light in your life, do it. And don't worry about these other fools and these idiots who don't understand like what you're going through.
Wow. I consider myself kind of like the anti-marketer because, as you've seen in this industry, the fitness industry, right? It's just everyone's a health coach. Everyone has something to sell you. Everyone's pitching the latest, greatest product, program, diet, pill, whatever. And I absolutely hate it. I hate the fact that I even have to play that game at all where you have to market yourself and make everything sound like my program is the best program ever. And I really think, and this is very personal for me, I really think that it's held me back a lot because I refuse to step into that realm and really play that shitty game that so many people are playing. But when I see what you're doing, you're not spending a ton of money on ads trying to get people to buy something. You're a real guy. You're not pitching. You're sharing your story and you're being real. And I mean, seriously, we need way more of this and a lot less of what we see every day on Instagram, which is, every 22-year-old with six-pack abs is selling their coaching. And it pisses me off to no end because it's not, in my opinion, it's just not right. We're not helping people. I don't want to go into too much of a tirade because it really pisses me off. But when I saw what you were doing, I said, this guy is, in my opinion, he's doing it right. He's doing it for the right reasons. And, we need to share this story. I mean, people need to hear your story.
I really appreciate it because, like I said, I've been in this industry for a while. Even though it's on the clinical side, like I get it, there has been many brands that have reached out to me and want me to hawk, different pills or shakes and things of that sort. And I'm like, well, y'all don't know me then. Because if you knew me, you would know that I hate pills. I got tons of multivitamins sitting in my cabinet right now that I haven't taken just on the fact that I don't like swallowing pills. So, all that stuff. Like, I don't like protein shakes. Like, I don't know how people do it because I haven't found one that tastes good to me or somewhat, relevantly good. So, it's not my thing. And, for me, it's really about staying true to me, staying true to my values and what I believe in. And, for me, that's, you could be active at any weight that you are right now. And, for any, and for like running in general, you don't need to lose weight to run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can start right now.
I love that too. I mean, I'm the exact same way. I've had so many companies offer me, actually quite a bit of money to pitch something that I'm like, that doesn't even make sense for what I'm doing. Or I'm like, that's just stupid. Like, I'm not going to pitch some one-off product, gimmicky product, to make some money. Like, I'm never going to do that. But I do have a whole pantry full of supplements. I mean, that's one of my things. I like to try supplements. I don't use them frequently, but they love to send me stuff, and so I've got this huge pantry full of pills and shakes and powders and everything you could imagine. It's kind of interesting, but I will give you a suggestion though. If you don't like the taste of protein shakes, and this is just straight honest, there's one protein that I think is phenomenal tasting, and it's by First Form. If you're familiar with First Form, they have a product called Level 1. It's a protein powder, and they have an ice cream sandwich flavor. And so if you mix that with almond milk, it tastes, and I'm not kidding, it tastes exactly like an ice cream sandwich. There's no aftertaste. There's no funky, like, weird chemically taste. It tastes spot on like an ice cream sandwich. It is. I mean, I've been taking supplements for 25 years, and this is the best one I've ever had. So you may want to check that out if you really don't like a lot of protein shakes.
I'll check it out because, like I said, I haven't found one that tastes relatively good.
Oh, this is spot on, man. So I read something too that you kind of think about this is because you grew up overweight or obese, you came to learn to expect disappointment, and so now you work on celebrating small wins, and I love that. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, what does that look like for you? So how does that translate into your life with what you're doing?
For me, I wish I can show you all the medals that I accumulate. My office is pretty much like, I'm just going to sound narcissistic, but it's a shrine to all of my accomplishments. When it comes to fitness, like when I was in Runner's World, in the cover framed over my head, my first race, my first 5K that I've ever done, framed, all the medals I accomplished, in the race bibs framed. um, all the all the shirts that I can't fit. Because I'm actually doing, I done binge Marie Kondo on Netflix, so I done pulled out all the race shirts, all the race bills that I can't fit, and my puppy is sitting on right now. But but it's that type of stuff. It's me going out there putting as many races as I can on my calendar that I can either afford or get somebody to pay for, so I can do them. Is one thing, but also when I get up and do my workout, the way that, since I'm coaching myself right now, every day that I get up, I see that workout and I'm like, oh, okay, this is a challenge. And sometimes I don't want to get out the bed. Sometimes I don't have discipline to be like, all right, I'm going to stretch and do yoga. And when I do those things, that's a time to celebrate. Another time is whenever I get done with a long run. So my tradition is that, I love carrot cake. Carrot cake is one of the things that I probably have what's the best word? Probably not the best relationship with.
Yep.
But whenever I do a run longer than 12 miles, that grants me carrot cake or a race.
Uh-huh.
Every time I complete a race or do a training run longer than 12 miles, Martinez gets carrot cake.
Nothing wrong with that.
And that's for me. That's my celebration.
That's awesome, though. So I can imagine you rolling up to the pre-race there, and well, what kind of shirt do you want? You want small, medium, or large? And you're like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna work.
Yeah, it's been many times, and I'm an ambassador for a few races. And it's interesting for them to be like, all right, we're going to try our best to find, something bigger than a double XL, and then be like, nope, we can't find anything. And I scratch my head like, but I found the manufacturer to do it for my shirts. My shirts go up to 4XL. So try harder.
Exactly.
Let me give you their number. But yeah, it's interesting to be like this big guy in a space or in a sport that's not necessarily tailored to big folks. So for me, like, it's a little niche, and for me to help as many people as I can to get into it and share my wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, for sure.
Brings joy.
Yeah, man, I love it. So now that you're going to races, I mean, you're racing frequently, right? Are you really seeing people like every race now that know you from social, and they're like, "Hey, man, can I walk with you? Can I run with you? Can I talk to you?"
Yes. I didn't know I was that famous until it started to happen more frequently. So, for example, I did a race out here in San Jose, and I had to take at least 15 selfies during this whole race. And it was only a 8K. So it's like, 5 miles? So like I took like 15 selfies, and people was having conversations or like, oh, like you're that guy, like 300 pounds of running, or I'm listening to your podcast right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm talking to you and I'm listening to you through the podcast and you talking to me. So, that's pretty cool.
That's very cool. Yeah, I'm like, I'm kind of afraid of, I don't like the spotlight. So for me, it would be like, I mean, I love being around people, but I think at some point you're gonna be like, all right, that's enough.
Sometimes it can get tiring, but the thing is that people, see you and they see you as this like resource and inspiration that they have been listening to in their earbuds for forever. And who am I to not talk to them? Like, you supporting my podcast, you're listening to it right now. Like, who am I to not take a few seconds to just say hi, or smile and take a selfie, or just say thank you for listening, right? Because I'm not too big not to do those things, because I won't want somebody to do those for the people that inspire me. So, who am I to just, shoo them away? I'm not trying to run the race anyway. As long as I get there before the cutoff, that's the only thing that really matters to me. unless it's Big Sur Marathon. But that's a whole nother story. But who am I to turn down somebody that they had all this, got all this hope and changed lives for? Like, who am I to just be like, no, don't talk to me. No, I don't want to take no selfies.
Yeah, no, I get it. I was thinking more along the lines of, celebrity status, where at some point, obviously we're not there yet. But, you think about like someone like Gary Vaynerchuk, right, who everybody knows that guy. He's everywhere, yet he always takes the time, if he can, right? He takes selfies. He's giving quick 30-second interviews. He's like, and that's his thing. But that's what he does, and I think that's a phenomenal trait to do that.
Oh, no. Steve, I lost you.
I heard a little beep.
Yes.
Yeah. So, no, I was just saying that Gary Vaynerchuk takes the time, and he's busier than me, you, and about 50 other people combined. And, absolutely. So what's cool is I read something about you that you were, I guess you had a moment, you're like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go to Dunkin' Donuts, and you sent out a tweet saying, talk me out of this. And the power of social, right? Your community rose up and said, they came out of the woodwork and said, don't do this, whatever, and you ended up not doing it. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, I'm inspiring people and giving people accountability. That goes back to me too. My followers and the people I interact with keeps me accountable too. To say like, no, or no, you should try this way, or if I say, hey, I'm struggling with something and I'm about to go smash a dozen donuts, because who can just eat one, Krispy Kreme donut, especially when the red light is on. I'm about to eat a whole dozen of these but these glazed donuts. Somebody's talking me out of it. And for people to have like valid reasons for me not to do these things, it's kind of a marvel. Because without social media, like, where would you get this from?
Yep. And I've seen the power. Everything I do now is in groups, and men I've seen really thrive when they're part of like a tribe. And so I stopped doing one-on-one stuff online because you're helping one person, and when you've got a collective, like my private group has 600 and some odd dads in it, and we work together. So it's these guys are seeing other dads struggling with the same stuff, just like what you're doing, right? And I'm 47. I'm pretty fit. I keep my body fat in the low teens. So most people look at me when they're my age, and what does a typical 47-year-old guy look like, right? In your mind, right? Mm-hmm. He's overweight, got a big belly. He's bald, and he doesn't look very healthy, right? That's what you typically see. I was probably blessed with some better than average genetics, but I've worked my ass off for a long time to stay healthy and fit. So yeah, I've got to also, like you were saying, I've got to be accountable, and I've got people that look to me and say, man, if this guy can do it, I can do it. Why can't I be that fit? A lot of my clients, they're 250-pound guys. They've been sitting on their ass for 20 years. And now they feel horrible. They can't barely move well. They can't play with their kids. They can't chase them down the road. And they just want to be able to do those simple things, and that's for me, that's what I'm trying to do here has helped those guys.
And I feel like that's the greatest thing ever, right? When you have a tribe that you can help and support and each other and get going, because when it comes to this, a lot of us feel alone. We feel like we can't go talk to our spouse about this. We can't talk to our family members, or they're shame about this. And, we just need people, like-minded individuals that we can feel like we have some type of community around. And like, for example, every time my mom sees me or like in my family, the first thing, the hello is about your weight. Like, ooh, you're getting big now, or ooh, you're getting small. And it's like, Jesus, like, can you just say hello? and I know for like most families, that's, weight is like one of those things that family harp on you about. And it can be like a term of endearment, or they try to make it seem like it's a term of endearment, but that type of stuff sits with us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, so what's your thought? Because you've heard it a million times. You know, Martinez, you're 300 pounds, you're 280 pounds. You know, you're destroying your joints, your heart's struggling to make it. And you've already said this isn't a weight loss journey for you, but how does that weigh on your mind as far as your health and fitness? How old are you now?
32.
Okay, so 32. So, I mean, what is that? What is the thought process in your head? And I know your focus isn't that. It's I want to run. I want to feel great. I love running and crushing my goals. So, what's the story like in your head that plays that you've heard a million times of, you're going to die at 50 of diabetes or a heart attack or whatever, I mean, you've heard it all.
Well, first things first is that, I go back to my medical panel. They say, okay, well, all my numbers are normal or below. So what they're saying is just at surface level. The other thing is like, oh, I'm going to tear up my knees and I'm going to have bad knees, but I strength train. And if we know anything about, how bones work, there's 3 types of cells. There's osteoclasts, osteoblasts, and osteocytes. And, all those things are into play as you strength train and exercise. And then, for having a heart attack at, 50, well, that's going to be something of an interesting feat when my resting heart rate is 54. So like
wow,
all of those things that they say, they don't, it goes back to knowing me, right? They don't know me. They don't know what my health looks like. They don't know what my blood panels look like. They don't know what, all this stuff looks like for me. And the only thing they can tell is that they see a 6'3" man with, that weighs 300 plus pounds with legs. And they see that and they come up with all these assumptions about me. But if you look at my numbers, and it's funny, like if you look at my numbers, the only thing they have on me is that I'm 300 pounds. So with these numbers, if I was 240, nobody would say what they're saying now. But since I'm 300, it's a problem. And I go back to my resting heart rate is 54.
That's impressive.
Like, as much as, I say, like, this is not a weight loss journey, I train. Like, I train as if I'm a marathoner. Like, I strength train, I run miles. Like, I'm not just getting up off the couch every day. I'm just not getting off the couch race day and be like, all right, I'm going to walk, 26.2 miles. Like, no. Martinus is training. I put in 18, 20 miles and, in one shot, and I go to the gym and beat my legs up on leg day and arm day and everything else. Is that, I'm doing this. So, for those who like, well, he's doing, he's going to kill it. So try me.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love it. And so you've come out and you've written a guide, right?
Yes.
Actually downloaded the Zero to Running Beginner's Guide, which is actually pretty darn good. You see a lot of these, opt-in freebie guides from a lot of people that are, 1 or 2 pages of fluff. And I read through yours this morning, and it's actually pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did a nice job with it.
I put a lot of time into that, a lot of effort, to the point where I was like, you know what, maybe I should take this down and try to sell it, like update it and sell it for a couple of bucks, because I put in a lot of time and effort and research into, the things in that guide. I'm a certified run coach, like a RRCA run coach. So I took what I learned from that, from like my coaching certification and my own personal experience to create like that 5K plan. Because I figured, I found out that, when you look at most of these apps, the Couch to 5K apps or like the freebie online stuff, it's not personalized to the big guy or big girl. It's just not personalized. So when you look at, a Couch to 5K program and the last day is like run 30 minutes straight or go run a 5K. I don't know about you, but I can't run a 10-minute mile. I know people like some people spend their whole life trying to run a sub 35K, and you telling me the plan stops at 30 minutes?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you've got a good niche there to tailor make something like that, like a couch to K, like you've got for backpackers.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, and man, that's not a bad idea. I mean, if you condense that into a very short guide and gave that away, and then I mean, I could see you selling the guide you have now. I mean, it's got enough content in there.
Yeah.
And believe me, I've seen a lot of worse products out there that people are selling, and you're not like that. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff you could do. Like from the marketer in my head is seeing all the things that you could do. I mean, you're doing a lot already, but we've got such a great niche in the way you've approached it. Is fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So you're super active on social. I'm going to link to your running guide. But where do you want people to find you? So I'll put some links in the show notes.
Well, on social, all things 300 pounds of running. 300 spell out pounds of running. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. On Twitter, it's 300 like 300 LBS ANDRUNNIN because of character limits. But if you put in 300 pounds of running, like me, like I'm the only guy who's proud of being 300 pounds of running. Also, I have a podcast as well. It's called the 300 Pounds of Running Podcast Network. So it actually has two podcasts on one feed. So it's a podcast with myself called the 300 Pounds of Running Podcast that I interview other back of the pack athletes to share their journey, to give people more inspiration, motivation, and education about being a fat runner or a fat athlete, to say you're not alone. And then the other podcast that's on the feed is called The Long Run with Martinus and Latoya. And that's a podcast with myself and my co-host Latoya Shante Snell. And we just spend 45 minutes to an hour shooting the shit, talking about running, our runs for the week, different topics of the day, doing some clapbacks with trolls and things of that sort, and just having fun. Like, it's a lot of cursing, there's a lot of running, and it's very laid back.
Yeah, man, I've heard a few. It's an interesting show. I'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt, man.
My co-host Latoya is from Brooklyn, so she's like a true New Yorker. So think of anybody from New York and times it by 10, and like that's Latoya. Like, she's New York to the fullest. And for some people, she can come off a little crass, but to other people like myself, it's kind of hilarious because some of the things that come out of her mouth, I'm like, you can only think of that because you are from New York, because their first thing with anybody is like, get the fuck out of here, like, go on with that shit. So it's interesting to have us two go back and forth.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I'll put links to those too so people can check it out. But I definitely want people to listen to your stuff and to read your story, to follow you on social, because you do have such an amazing story. And I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed our conversation, and I appreciate your time here today.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate it as well.
All right, we'll keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, if you want more information, check out the Fit Dad Basecamp group on Facebook. And don't forget to stop by fitdadnation.com. Until next time, keep kicking ass and taking the next step. You can do this, Dad.